Hi designers. As you noticed, the site is back up and running. All of our quests got fixed, so we're in good shape for you guys to work at home today on whichever quests you were working on previously. If you're fairly new or if you're getting back into the groove of things, not sure what you can do at home, remember you can always work on the sketching map. If you haven't finished Think Design yet, you need to get that piece finished. But otherwise, when you look at your project, what parts of it are modelable? Which parts of it might you need to think more deeply about? And those are the kinds of things that you can do at home. As you get started, we have the new design notebooks. So over the next couple days, if you haven't already gotten one, make sure that you pick one up before you leave class. And I'd like to point out the very front section is a series of pages called Project Proposal. And these have two checks at the top for whether it's a design project or a skills project. The difference there is whether you're focusing on a problem or learning how to do something. So if you've got a problem, like my desk is really messy, I'd like to build something to kind of organize all the stuff that I normally put on it so there's less crap all over the place. That's a design problem. And there's a specific thing that you're trying to build, a specific problem you're trying to solve, and that's the focus of your design. On the other hand, maybe this is the first time you've used the laser cutter, or maybe you've done one or two projects in the workshop, but you really want to bump your skills up and get good at woodworking. Those are skills type projects. And so you would look at those two kinds somewhat differently. Just below that, there's a section here for the description of your product or project. So if you're doing a design problem, then you look at the problem and say, this is the solution that I'm looking for. Here's the problem, and you describe that. And then here's the solution that I envision in general terms, and you describe that. And then you start going through the design process to come up with how can I make that solution really, really fit the problem. On a skills project, you would talk about the skills that you want to learn, whether it's in the workshop or the laser cutter or 3D modeling or whatever it is. You describe in detail what skills you're trying to learn for this. And maybe it's the case where you're not really sure. You know you want to do video production, but you don't know the terminology or the skills to describe them. And that would be a case where you want to sit and chat with me. And that would be just fine too. Then below that, there's a section for tools and materials. What do you need in order to build this project or work on these skills? And then skills. And there's a checkbox set over here that says, is this skill something that's new to me? I'm just starting. Is it something I've done a little, but I'm working on improving my skill? Or is it something that I know pretty solidly? So the key skills describe the whole project. And then the checkboxes over here describe where you're at with that particular skill. And then for every project, I'd like a general sketch, a general picture of what that project is like. And there's some specific notes in here about what the sketch would look like if you're not sure. When you're doing woodworking, it's pretty obvious. Here's the physical thing that I'm going to build. It might not be so obvious if you're doing coding or video production. What do I put in a sketch? And so I talk a little bit about that. If that's not clear, again, let's have a chat about what that looks like. My goal in all of this is to have you move toward the way that a professional designer would look at their project. And professional designers, by the way, do projects just for skill base. So that's not because you're here in school. That's what professional designers do. Our subject is changing on a yearly basis. There's new skills to learn every single year for the last 20 years that I've been involved in design kind of things. So it's not something that you ever stop learning. That's just part of who we are and what we do as designers. And so all of this is designed to help you gradually build the habits and the thinking patterns that a professional designer uses to get you moving on that path. So let me know what you need help with and what you'd like to talk about. And as usual, the rest of the time, I will try to stay out of your way, take observations and notes about what you're doing, and maybe offer a few suggestions.